to our next speaker, Luke Elijah. So, multi-talented Renaissance man Luke Elijah was born in a family of holistic healers and spiritual practitioners dating back 4 generations. After his own powerful and intense spiritual awakening back in December 2011, Luke followed his instincts and left a successful multi-award winning career in the fashion and media industry, working as a freelance photographer, designer, stylist, and journalist in order to follow the footsteps of his ancestry to pursue a higher calling of service to humanity. He has since been fulfilling his true life purpose to serve as a full-time spiritual practitioner and teacher who conducts and facilitates various holistic themed workshops, events, and group classes. Luke is certified in theta healing, aromatherapy, hypnotherapy, sound healing, Reiki, yoga, massage therapy, the culinary arts, and much more. So we now welcome Luke. In addition, I just want to add that Luke also runs a YouTube channel where he regularly features videos with spiritual content and interviews with many interesting and spiritual people and successful people. So he has a very interesting YouTube channel. So without further ado, I introduce Luke to you. I welcome Luke, who will be sharing his topic, the mastery of self-love. So over to you, Luke.
Namaste, and thank you so much, Navneet. And Navneet's on my YouTube channel, so we have, I think, 2 videos together, at least one minimum. It's on there, right? I first met Navneet, Pradeep, and Prachaji in Singapore back in 2012. So wow, come a long way. It's already 8 years. So thank you for your friendship, and thank you once again. I'm really honored to the Pyramid Meditation Group for always inviting me to speak. And today I'm going to share on the topic of the mastery of self-love. And this is a huge topic. I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so since Navneet already given me such a good introduction, I won't talk very much. I'll just say that my parents and I run a holistic center here in Singapore called Heaven on Earth. And we frequently host foreign practitioners from all over the world. So if you are a foreign practitioner and you'd like to come post-pandemic to come to Singapore to speak and to teach, reach out to me. Okay, so, all right. Self-love is a huge topic. It's actually the foundation of many other spiritual topics that we are trying to achieve, that state of enlightenment. And so self-love is also very elusive. It just seems simplified. It seems easy, but more often than not, what it really is radical self-acceptance, especially acceptance of everything that we despise and dislike about ourselves, like, talking about body image, our height, our weight, the way we look, the way we sound, right? Our flaws, imperfections, our humanity. And so it's a learning to have compassion, for acceptance and forgiveness of that, and to come to terms with all of it and bring it all in. And so we hear it all the time, right? Even from people like, Whitney Houston singing "The Greatest Love of All," right? It's learning to love yourself. And so really is the cornerstone and foundation for all other spiritual lessons and on our journey as a incarnated human being, but spirit being human. Okay, so we really are perfectly imperfect, but our ego plays mind tricks on us and makes it hard for us to accept ourselves sometimes. So how can we do it? Contingent to the idea of self-love is this topic called self-care. And sometimes they're synonymous because they are closely related. So what we need to do is really, we need to achieve this body, mind, heart, and soul balance in all aspects and facets of our lives, all right? From learning to have healthy boundaries, doing our yoga practices, our meditation practices, making sure that we have a good diet, eating healthy, exercising regularly, daily, if possible, right? Journaling, spending time expressing our creative and artistic selves, giving time to our hobbies, going to the spa, getting a massage, right? Engaging in meaningful work, things like that. It's very broad. But I would like to remind you that your diet is not just what you are eating. It's also what you are reading, what you're consuming, the people around you, the energy that you're infusing with, what you're watching on television, listening on the radio. So that's why with the term holistic is complete, right? You need all facets and areas of your life, from your root chakra all the way to your crown chakra, to be in holistic balance. You need to be as physically grounded in your body as you are metaphysically and spiritually connected to high dimensional energies, right? You are both. Okay, so oftentimes, like what Cynthia brought up, so I'm going to expand on the topics of toxic positivity, the dark night of the soul, spiritual bypassing, and concepts like these are pretty new. I noticed only my peers have been only working on themselves in such a deep way the last couple of years, myself included. All right, after encountering waves of dark nights of the soul. So in the past, a lot of light workers, they only overly focus on just the love of light aspect. All right, everything they think of, everything is just butterflies and rainbows in your human journey. Okay, so when you really overgeneralize these spiritual concepts, it becomes like a new age version of Christianity. Okay, and you're actually denying the human experience by doing that. So that's what we term a spiritual bypass. When you try to sidestep these, psychological wounds, your childhood wounds, your emotional issues, and you kind of repress and suppress this, right? And it's basically the use of spiritual concepts, methodology, and practices to avoid dealing with your painful feelings, your unresolved wounds, your developmental needs, all right? And the idea of soul shadow work. Okay, there's light work and shadow work. It's just like a yin and yang. It's 50-50. You need to do both. And shadow work is delving deep in to all the parts that you repress, suppress, you swap under the rug. You don't want to look at because it's uncomfortable. So what happens is people then go into addictions like gambling, too much sex, too much overindulgence in food and eating, even overworking. Or in my case, when I was newly awakened, it was too much meditation. I overindulged in meditation as a means to escape working on my lack of self-love, right? My lack of self-love stemmed from my lack of self-acceptance of my own sexuality, my own sexual identity, right, as being gay and born gay in this lifetime, and struggling with societal acceptance of me, because when I was young, I was really very bullied in school. My classmates would pick on me. This was back in when I was 13 years old, when I first came out. And there was no internet. The internet only came when I was 18. So back then, people's understanding, acceptance of the LGBT community was very negligible. And my classmates would beat me up. They'll punch me in the stomach. They'll break my nose. My lips will bleed. They'll spit on me and throw me in the dustbin. And I'll go back to home and I'll ask my dad. I say, Dad, I'm badly bullied in school. Can you do something? And his retort was, who asked you to be gay? And I felt really hurt because my church doesn't accept me. My religion tells me I'm a sin. All right. My parents don't love me unconditionally. My teachers and classmates laugh at me and discriminate against me. How am I going to love myself if others don't love me? So I didn't know how to deal with it. So I shoved it under the rug. I drowned my sorrows through retail therapy, shopping and playing video games and just keeping busy with work. All right. And so a lot of the times what it is that when you don't step out of your comfort zone, nothing changes. And yet change is the inevitable, change is the only constant. And in order to grow and expand and elevate in consciousness and awareness and heal and ascend, we need to be brave enough and have the courage and strength to step out of that comfort zone and confront the issues that are facing us that we have otherwise repressed and suppressed so deeply that we're not even conscious of it anymore. All right. And so truly what happens is sometimes nobody volunteers to do the work, very rarely. So sometimes spirit sends like a near-death experience, cancer or some terminal illness or accident or something really large to shock you, all right, a dark night of the soul. And yet these are necessary as developmental progress and in our journey as a human, because it's kind of like contingent to a diamond only is actually dark coal, black coal, that under a lot of time, heat and pressure over that, it turns to a sparkling diamond. All right, a caterpillar, goes through a state of darkness in a cocoon and isolation and separation, and then it upgrades with wings, it becomes transmuted and transformed into a butterfly. All right, same for a rainbow. You only get a rainbow after a storm. So the darkest nights really produces the brightest stars. And I bless every trial, every tribulation, every ailment, every disease, every illness, every kind of adversity I face in my life, because it's made me what I am. It's given me the Christ-conscious virtues. These virtues like compassion and empathy and patience, self-acceptance, forgiveness. These things are not learned, they're earned. You cultivate them through going through life's experience, thus turning knowledge into wisdom, thus transforming and transmuting. And by doing the work yourself, you then give rise and set the example as a shining light for others to do the same. Because then, otherwise, you'll be the blind leading the blind. You'll be like a wounded healer. If you try to heal someone and guide someone, and you don't have the experience of actually doing the work to actually transform your own inner darkness back to light. So you can only teach and serve and guide someone by the hand if you have transmuted it yourself. For example, people who have, say, survived cancer, then have a higher probability because they have the experience, the wherewithal, the resources, the compassion, the patience to then aid someone who is going through cancer themselves, and then they will be able to help them with their experience and with pointing them in the right direction, right? So same for me, because I was born gay, I'm able to then understand what it truly feels like to be one, and know where to point someone who needs help in this department, coming to terms with their sexuality, coming to terms with accepting themselves, so that society and their parents can then later accept them. As within, so without. It starts with you first. It's an inside job. It always starts with you. Kind of think of it like going to you hire a gym trainer, the gym instructor cannot push the weight for you and you grow the muscle. You have to push the weight. He's there to support and guide you, and that's it. So even Jesus, Buddha, all the ascended beings, they cannot come down and knock you on the head and then you become enlightened. You have to do that inner work, that inner process. It's a growth process. And like what Cinta said earlier, it's not an overnight thing. It takes years. It took me decades even to come to this level of self-love and acceptance. And even then, I won't even say I'm 100%. I would say I'm a good 95, 98 most of the time. And that's the acceptance of that. It's also self-love, to understand that not every day you're going to get it, right? And even the state of enlightenment is not permanent. Nothing's permanent. Everything is always in flux, in change. And so this terminology of shadow work is pretty new. It's only the last couple of years that you keep hearing it in our consciousness, in our collective consciousness, with more and more spiritual teachers entering their own dark nights of the soul and dealing and healing their own inner wounds and inner child wounds. Have they then transcended it and rise up? And then now they're teaching how they did it. And so that's why I'm able to stand here and then do the same. Okay? And so we have got to ask ourselves all these uncomfortable questions and where they reside in our body and what they make us feel, because everyone is a trigger, everyone's a mirror to reflecting back to us all the beauty and all the darkness that's already within us. And through integration and processing and grounding these concepts can then be transcended. In other words, more darkness actually propels you to more light. Think of it like a rubber band. If you put a lot of tension and pressure on the rubber band, the more pressure you extend to it, the moment you let go, you fling further. Right, so it's the same thing for spiritual work. More darkness actually propels you to more light and allows you to cultivate truly and integrate the lessons, thus transforming you to a higher state of consciousness and elevation, and which allows you to then be able to hold space for other people going through their own humanity, going through their own darkness, going through their own trials and tribulations and dark times. All right. So one technique that you could use is to humor, just laugh at the grand scale of things, take yourself out, step out of it, and look at all of it on the third person's perspective. From a higher and broader perspective, things seem smaller, and just understand it's only transient. No matter how wonderful your experience or how terrible, this too shall pass, tomorrow shall be another day, you will also die, all right? And understanding that pain is inevitable, but suffering is an option. Right? External circumstances do not matter. It's only our internal states of perception and perspective and reflection, right? Only your internal states of being will matter, as in matter materialize into physical matter. So there's always pain everywhere: physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, right? For example, every day you have stomach ache, toothaches, indigestion, whatever, a lot of kind of physical ailments, but it's our choice to that pain did not be suffering, right? It's our mental state, and through that, things like meditation and breath work, you can transcend it. Okay, but a better way to to transcend it is to face it and confront it, thank it, release it, right? Thank the ego. It serves the purpose of contrast. It serves the purpose of allowing you to grow and expand. After thanking it, instead, if you run away from it, it chases you through hell and back. When you thank it and release it, you purge it out of your system. You've integrated the lessons. You then elevate. Then it doesn't chase you through hell and back anymore because it's been shed. It's been enlightened, so to speak. Right? You have shed light on it. Okay, that's why it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and this you cultivate, you earn, like earning your stripes. All right. So a lot of the times, what it is all of us have been hurt, not just in this lifetime, but in previous lifetimes by our loved ones. You know, our people we trusted. We've been traumatized, we've been hurt, we've been lied to, we've been betrayed, we've been gaslighted, and this has formed lots of shielding around us to protect our heart. And we think this is strength. But by closing our heart, we cut ourselves off from the human experience. You can't cherry pick, in other words. If you don't allow yourself to feel, or completely open up your heart to feel, you don't feel extreme joy, but neither do you feel extreme sadness. You're just in the middle. And that's what antidepressant medication does. It blocks you out from feeling your emotions, and you're just causing through life. All right? There's no high and lows. So it takes great strength. The true strength is actually being able to be vulnerable and open, and you do that by first healing, by forgiving yourself, and then thus forgiving others. All right, and so part of that body, mind, heart, and soul balance is also the balancing of our divine feminine and divine masculine aspects, the yin and yang. And in Hinduism, we have the Shakti Shiva aspect of duality or polarity of the Godhead. All right, and what has occurred for millennia, the past millennia, is there's too much masculine energy such that it becomes toxic masculinity, and this over indulgence in and over appreciation of the masculine energy, putting it on a pedestal, has caused and that imbalance. All right, and what we need to do is we're trying to balance it, come to equilibrium and harmonizing with rising our sacred feminine as depicted by the phoenix rising. So the old us dies off and the new us is reborn like a phoenix. And we're allowing our feminine, getting itself in touch with our feminine sides, hence that vulnerable side, that creative side, that artistic side, awakening the inner goddess. Regardless of your gender or sexuality, you have male and female energies, all of you, every single one of us, right? It's the great goddess aspect of creation. And so we're allowing that feminine to rise again, because that feminine energy has so been repressed. That's why men have been taught you can't be in touch with feelings, you cannot cry. And even women, you know, they're taught that being masculine is better. So they become over masculine as well. And this has caused a lot of violence and bloodsheds and war for millennia. And we've been repressed by that. But no longer, the feminine is rising, no doubt. You can see it, right? The equality, that balance. And also, that's also why I know I was born gay in this lifetime, because I then embody a lot of these feminine energies that is needed to heal humanity and this planet at this time of our great ascension. Okay, so it takes a lot of strength and courage that you earn along the way. You become a spiritual warrior by doing this inner work of transformation and transformation on yourself first, before you can then help others. Let's delve a little bit into science. In psychology, there's something called the 4 attachment styles, and it's very much an extension of how we were brought up and how we were shown love by our caretakers in our childhoods. All right, and we actually encompass all 4 styles, and different styles in different stages of our lives with different people as well. For example, you could have a very secure style with your friends, but a fearful, dismissive or style with your boss, and an anxious, preoccupied style with someone that you're very sexually attracted to. All right, so this delving very deep in it's out of the purview of this short talk, but I encourage all of you to go research it. There's many YouTube videos on this 4 attachment style theory. Okay, so a lot of us sometimes when we meet our mirror twin, or what we call our twin flame, it causes that runner-chaser dynamic. And it triggers in us the sense of isolation, loneliness, anxiety, separation anxiety, and feelings of rejection that we have suppressed and repressed so deeply that we're not even aware we still had it. And a lot of it is from our childhood, because maybe we had a parent that, or parents that weren't available for us because they're too busy or they're divorced. And we weren't given, because we were brought up by parents who were wounded themselves. And it's ancestral karma, because it's passed on. They are only parenting us the way their parents taught them and so forth. So it's sins of the father being passed down. And so it takes us, our generation, to decide we want to step up and end that, so that we don't pass on to future generations. And we do that by healing ourselves, and the healing starts by being aware of where the root cause is, where it comes from. And sometimes not just even this lifetime, it comes from other lifetimes. And because of this, a lot of people are very dependent. And when you depend on someone, you throw a lot of expectations on them and a lot of conditions on them, and then you can't be unconditional love anymore, right? True unconditional love can be only happen when you have no expectations on someone giving you any kind of happiness, because you don't need it. The happiness comes from within, comes from yourself. You give yourself the happiness first. On the flip side is independence, which is over extreme, right? I don't need anyone, my walls are up, all right? And your heart is very cold, and you say, I don't need, I'm self-reliant, all right? So what I'm trying to come to right now is a very healthy equilibrium and harmonized balance called interdependence, where we are whole and complete, but we're sharing our whole and completeness with other whole and complete individuals. So looking at it, the yin and yang analogy, codependency, right? We need each other. Interdependence, very separated, and then weaving it back, the combination of the yin and yang, right? Interdependence is what we are trying to strive in all our interpersonal relationships, okay? And that's when true unity consciousness occurs, all right? And when you are a wounded feminine, expect the feminine, secret feminine in you is not healed. You tend to be a people pleaser. I'm a reformed people pleaser myself, so I know about this. Very hard to say no, always giving in to people, always pandering to unreasonable requests, accepting a lot of toxic bullshit, all right, and abusive patterns from our loved ones. Just because we love them, we think we need to be accept. But truly, unconditionally loving someone is not the same as approving or accepting of their toxic behaviors and patterns. Because even when we over accept someone, right, we're teaching them how to treat us. When we over accept their gaslighting and lying and cheating, we are then supporting them to continue to perpetuate those behaviors. So even a bully is being bullied if his negative patterns are allowed to perpetuate. So sometimes we need to put our foot down. It's self-love first. You need to give yourself that love, right? That if you love yourself, you will not accept this kind of bullshit from even your loved ones, even your family members. All right? And so learning to form healthy boundaries isn't an overnight thing. It takes time. It takes a lot of cultivation and understanding. And yet it's such a necessary skill for all of us to hone and to understand. And it takes practice as well. And when you have been, reach a stage that you start, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not enough. It's usually think of a lot of lack, right? And it becomes, I had enough, I'm not enough, I had enough, then finally, I am enough. So that's why bless all the mirrors, bless all the triggers, bless all the toxic people in your life, all right? Because they help you to reach that I had enough state before you can transcend it to become I am enough. Yeah, enough of that. I'm going to love myself first. I'm no longer accepting. I'm going to set healthy boundaries, not walls of separation though. Healthy boundaries. There's a fine line between the two. Okay? Healthy boundaries, your heart is very open. You're still vulnerable, but you have so much self-respect that you do not become a people pleaser anymore, and you do not allow others to step over you, and able to be strong enough to say no to others. This is why you can only hold space from an overflowing cup. You have to fill your own cup first. So if you're feeling depleted, sick, tired, fatigued, you can only give to others what you already have. So you can't give and serve to someone for someone if you haven't done the work, you haven't dealt with yourself. All right. Okay, so expanding that is, I'm sure some of you have already read the book by Gary Chapman, The Five Languages of Love. And in the past, for me, it was like physical touch was my primary love language, followed by giving gifts and acts of service. All right, and I like to receive through words of affirmation and physical touch. But let me throw out the question to all of you and say, right, why not learn to give and receive love in all five ways? Starting with yourself, give to yourself first. All right, so buy yourself that nice treat before you buy a present for someone else. Right, make sure that you're able. Okay, fulfill your own needs first. It's not being selfish. It's being self-centered so much that you then, from a space of feeling good, able to then share that goodness with someone else. Otherwise, all you're sharing is anger and sadness, and you're just reflecting and deflecting back from an empty cup. That doesn't work, right? So learn to give and receive in all five ways. You don't need to choose one or the other, or just 2 ways or 3 ways, right? And sometimes, even though you have a more prominent way, for example, some people don't enjoy giving gifts or they feel embarrassed by receiving a gift, but by graciously accepting a gift, even if it's just a compliment, you're actually giving to the other person. You're allowing them to feel generous. So you're actually giving back, all right? So you see how that correlation, that interdependence, how it works in this scenario. All right, I like to teach a very easy method, and I'd like all of you to join me in this short exercise. It's called the Ho'oponopono meditation, and it's an ancient Hawaiian practice that's so simple, all right? Yet, we often overlook it because it's just so simple. We tend to try to complicate things, but truly the essence and the foundations are always usually very, very pure. And these 4 statements, it's so basic, yet we hardly hear it from others, and not often do we offer it as well. Okay, so we learn to say these 4 words, and it doesn't matter in which sequence you say these 4 sentences. And in my journey of cultivating and achieving self-love for myself and self-acceptance, I did this every day in front of the mirror. So if you have a mirror in front of you, I suggest you use it. If not, I ask that you close your eyes and give yourself a nice hug, right? Give yourself a nice squeeze, and you say, and give yourself a nice rub. And you say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. All right, pat your shoulders, pat your biceps. Thank you, I love you. All right, again, follow me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. Okay, we're going to do it a couple more times, and I'm going to accompany you with some angel chimes in the background. So close your eyes, place your hands over your heart, right? Send yourself the love, send yourself the forgiveness first. Go, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. You're going to do this a couple more times to yourself. Okay, now I'd like you to think of someone. It could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be a boss, a best friend, someone that's hurt you, betrayed you, lied to you, cheated on you, that you're really, really angry with, that you want to be able to let go and forgive and release this blockage, this pain in you. Think of that person, visualize the person in front of you. Okay, and you're going to direct this Ho'oponopono energies and blessings onto them. Right? Say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Send it to them a couple of times because the contingent of they're only your mirror. They're only here to let you expand and grow and learn lessons, to heal, to experience more facets of yourself. Right? Thank them for their presence in your life, the gifts they've given to you, even the unwanted. Send them the forgiveness, send them the thank you, the gratitude, the I love you. Because from your overflowing cup that you gave it to yourself first, you're able to then give it to them and accord them the forgiveness and appreciation and the love. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Finally, I'd like you to send this forgiveness and love to all of humanity on this planet right now and entering a pandemic and entering a global dark night of the soul. That's necessary to purge and release all the old structures, the old patriarchal structures and systems that no longer serves humanity at this time of our ascension. We are looking towards much constitutional, religious, political, social, economical change over the next 7 year cycle ahead of us. And we're just only in the beginning stages of that. So in order to transcend it and remove what no longer serves us, we need firstly to confront it and understand and acknowledge that it has served us in the past, but no longer is what works for where we are headed as a collective. So send everyone on this planet in this time of ascension, our soulmates, our soul tribe, our twin flames, our karmic partners, our co-creators on this journey, on this human journey, on this temporal human journey. In this time and space, send them this love, the forgiveness, the support, the strength. Strengthen the collective. And last but not least, we send these energies to the prime creator itself, the God, Goddess, the Godhead, the one source, the all there is. Everything that exists across all timelines, dimensions, and incarnations, that's really just you. Just multiple reflections of us, of you and me. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. Now I'd like you to visualize a golden iridescent stream of light streaming down from the central sun, from Pleiades, from Sirius, Arcturus, down from your crown chakra, spiraling down to your third eye, to your throat chakra, residing in your heart space, opening up your heart wider, allowing yourself to embrace the cosmic love of the divine that is you, so that you can integrate, process, and ground this love into every fiber, every cell of your being. Now you're going to spiral this love, funneling it down to Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, who's been the provider and source of all things in our human incarnation. Send it down to the center of this planet. The Earth needs healing at this time as it transcends into a higher dimensional frequency. Now feel Mother Gaia send you her support from the center of this planet. Feel her send you her love, her maternal love up your feet, residing back in your heart space. Imbue every essence of your being across all timelines, dimensions, and incarnations with this love. Balancing your sacred feminine and divine masculine aspects. Circulating your Merkaba light body, your crystalline body, spinning the sun and moon tetrahedron. Healing you on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Take a deep cleansing breath in. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to do, but be fully present in this moment. Heart wide open, grateful and thankful for everything in your life, everything. All the ups and downs, the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, the love and the fear. One last deep breath, make it count, revitalizing, re-energizing every single cell in your body. And as you breathe out, feel a sense of ease, release, purification, tranquility surrounding you. Gently open up your eyes. All right, thank you for joining me in this experience. I'd like to remind you that, again, we are also human beings, even though we are spirit in human form. We are both, right? Divine. It's profane and the profound, it's the yin and the yang, male and female. I love this phrase: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, you're still carrying wood and chopping wood. All right, chopping and carrying wood and carrying water as well. All right, so you still need to eat, you still need to breathe. We have our physical needs that we have to take charge of. So we need to ground our spirituality. Is very, very important. Okay. So if you only take one thing away from my talk, this will be the most important. The question really is irrelevant. All right. Love is always the answer for any question that you have. When in doubt, ask yourself, what is the highest expression of love in that moment? What do you love? Who do you love? What do you love most? What excites you? What are you passionate about? Then you go do it, right? What's the highest vibration, highest example, highest expression of love in that moment? And that's the answer, always. Okay? Because love is your true essence, is what we are, right? It's the highest experience we can have in and out of our physicality. All right? Thank you so much for listening to me. And these are my social media links. Navneet alluded to my YouTube channel. I have over 200 videos where I interview other practitioners on all kinds of holistic topics and healing topics. So lots of experts, and also I talk about all kinds of spiritual topics, from twin flames, which is my forte, to self-love, to emotional healing, how to open up your third eye, and much more. Right? My Instagram has a lot of updates on my events and food pictures, cooking, because cooking is the most creative, therapeutic, meditative, practical use of your lockdown time. Is very creative and expressive. Allows us to love ourselves, nourish ourselves. And when you cook your own food, you bless it, and you can have mindful eating as well. And you can also elevate your appreciation of what Mother Nature has given us. And it also allows you to express your creativity and artistry, which is honoring your sacred feminine in you. All right, which we all need to do as part of our healing process and ascension process in this time. And my professional Facebook page is where I load up all my updates on my upcoming events and meditation sessions. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this session. I'm opening the floor to any questions. Kindly type it in the chat box, and then Navneet will read it to me. Or you can unmute yourself, yes. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Yes. So hi, Luke. That was very wonderful sharing today. There's a question here. There's somebody's asking, please brief one more time the 5 ways to practice giving and receiving.
Oh, okay. Let me go to that slide. Right. These are called the 5 languages of love. It's from a book called by the same title by Gary Chapman. It's a very best-selling book. And let me delve deeper into it. Right. My personal favorite is physical touch. The Harvard Medical Journal says that we need to hug at least 5 times a day, and each time needs to be about 3 minutes. But frankly, most of us don't even hug once a day, and when we hug, it's just a fake, quick tap, right? It's not a real hug. When you hug, your body, especially your gut, produces all the feel-good hormones: serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and oxytocin, especially the hormone of love. And it heals your body when it's being produced, right? It allows you to de-stress. It allows your blood pressure and cholesterol levels and everything to go down, and it kickstarts your own body's innate healing system. So touch is really, really underrated. Touch can come in a caress, right? A kiss, holding hand, massage therapy. It doesn't just have to be a hug, all right? So massage, you give and receive massage with your partners, with your loved ones. It's really, really healing, right? Spending quality time, that's very underrated as well, especially in these times. Everyone's on their phones, everyone's on Netflix. Being grounded and fully present and immersed in that moment, and that's meditation. So let's say you're brushing your teeth, really focus on it, right? When you're showering, you're meditating as well. This is where I get a lot of downloads and clarity and inspiration from the divine. And when you're with your loved ones on the dinner table, right? Really spend time with you, even quality time with your food, the relationship with your food. You eat less, then you lose weight and you chew better, you digest better, and then all the heartburn, indigestion all goes away. Okay? And yeah, you know, acts of service is like doing things for your loved ones. But remember, you must have learned to not be a people pleaser, learn to say no when you really can't, you really have your hands full, learn to say no. All right? So that's very important because you have to give that the self-respect, the self-love first, right? Giving gifts, that's one of my favorites too. I love to give gifts to people but I think the greatest gift you can give someone is to hold space with them. And let's say they're having a bad day, not just say, oh, you'll be fine, or just think positive. That's actually toxic positivity. Just say, oh, okay, I'm here for you. Would you like to talk about it? And then don't say anything, just truly listen, because more often than not, they really know what they need to do. They just need to vent, they need the shoulder to cry on, they just need someone to hear them, they just want to be heard, right? And it's very important for them to, again, you can't really help anyone, you can only hold space to allow them to come to their own self-healing. So they still have to do it, just like the gym trainer analogy, they still have to do it on your own, but you can then support them and encourage them, egg them on, and you support them by not telling them to brush it away or sweep it under the rug or think positive, but you help them to say, okay, acknowledge that you feel bad and you feel crappy, and all right, and then release it. And now what do you want to do next? Right, opening up to them, all right, just listen. Okay, words of affirmation is telling us, you know, the Ho'oponopono. Thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, all right, I like you, right? No, usually people don't say compliment very often, and in the rare times they compliment, the people don't really accept as well. They feel embarrassed because of their own lack of self-worth and self-love. So we need to change all this. It starts with us. You know, as Mahatma Gandhi said, you know, we need to be the change we want to see in the world, as within, so without. And with this time of the pandemic, I think it's forcing a lot of us to slow down and go within, go inwards, instead of being distracted by all kinds of things outside. No more travel. A lot of us have lost our jobs. So going reflect a lot inner reflection, and this will awaken. This is time of great awakening for lots of people in the truest sense of balancing the male and the female, the yin and yang, and body, mind, heart, and soul. And from there, when we transcend that and heal and awaken and rise in consciousness, then it becomes externalized. Right? We'll see a new world of more peace, joy, and unity, and so forth. But because we dealt with it inside first. All right, I hope that answers the question. Any more questions?
Thank you, Luke. We've received comments that people really found your talk very inspiring and they really enjoyed it so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yes, and I myself found, I'm very grateful for your honest and very authentic sharing. It was very inspiring how you shared all the new concepts, especially I learned something new about interdependence and how it's important for coming into wholeness and for taking us through your whole Ho'oponopono meditation. That was really wonderful. So thank you so much, Luke, for gracing us with your presence here.
Thank you everyone for attending, and have a great weekend. Bless all of you.